Imagine this. You sit down for the IELTS reading test. You've got these three really dense academic passages staring you down. 40 questions are waiting for you, and you have exactly 60 minutes to get through it all.
The clock is ticking.
Exactly. It's not just a test of comprehension. It's a high-stakes, time-crunched marathon where, every second feels like a mile. That anxiety over finishing on time is, frankly, paralyzing for most people. Welcome to IELTS Guide Phil's Deep Dive podcast on YouTube. Our mission today is to dive deep into a comprehensive guide that's all about demystifying this exact scenario, the pressure cooker that is the reading section.
Right.
We're here to extract the essential structure, the required skills, and the non-negotiable strategies you need to conquer this thing and unlock those global opportunities.
Let's jump right in. The core challenge, as you said, is 60 minutes, 3 long passages, and 40 questions.
40 questions, 40 marks.
Exactly. And the single biggest difference between this and the listening test, it's huge. There is absolutely 0 extra time to transfer your answers.
Oh, that's brutal.
It is. When that clock hits 0, your pencil is down, period.
So that time constraint makes time management like the #1 most critical skill.
It's everything.
A lot of people feel guilty about guessing, though. They feel like it's cheating or something. But is that really a non-negotiable strategy here?
Oh, 100%. You have to think about the math. There is no penalty for wrong answers.
Okay.
So leaving a question blank guarantees you get 0 points for it. But if you guess, even on a multiple choice question, you have a 25% chance of getting it right.
That could add up to a lot of marks over the whole test.
It's an efficiency calculation, not a moral one. You have to guess.
I really like how he frames this. He calls it a high-speed treasure hunt. Your goal isn't to become an expert on, 19th century archaeology.
No, not at all.
You're just searching for specific information, understanding the main ideas, and following these complex arguments, all while keeping one eye glued to that clock.
And what's so crucial to understand right up front is that this test, it's not one size fits all. It fundamentally changes depending on why you're taking it.
Right.
We have to draw a really clear line between the academic and the general training versions.
Okay, so let's break that down. If you're applying to university or maybe trying for professional registration as a doctor or an engineer, you're taking the academic reading test. And the content for that, it's pulled from books, academic journals, magazines. The topics are, general academic interest, climate change, psychology.
Things you'd expect in a university setting. But he makes it clear you don't need to be a specialist to understand it.
Right. Now, contrast that with the general training reading.
Completely different world. This is for people who are migrating or applying for work or vocational training.
So the sources are way more practical.
Much more. We're talking advertisements, official documents, company handbooks, things you'd actually encounter in a new country or workplace.
And the structure reflects that difference, too. Academic is 3 long passages, and they get harder as you go.
Right, they ramp up.
But general training is broken into 3 sections. Section 1 has, 2 or 3 short factual texts, like a public notice or something?
Yeah, exactly. Hotel policies, that kind of thing. Section 2 has a couple of work-related texts, like a job description. And then Section 3 is one longer, more complex text.
So it's sort of similar to academic at the end, but the lead-up is different.
A bit more accessible, yeah. But connecting this back to the big picture, time allocation is where people aiming for those high academic scores really lose the battle.
The 20-minute rule.
That's the anchor. 20 minutes per passage.
Okay.
But, and this is a big but, it has to be dynamic. You have to adjust for difficulty.
You can't treat all 3 passages equally.
You just can't.
Yeah.
Passage 1 is designed to be the easiest. The language is clearer. The structure is more direct. You should be aiming to get that done in, say, 15 to 18 minutes.
Okay, so you're banking time.
You're banking time for passage 3. Because passage 2 is moderate, maybe 18 to 20 minutes. But passage 3, that's the killer. It's got advanced vocabulary, abstract concepts. You need to give yourself 20, maybe even 22 minutes for that one.
Because if you spend 25 minutes on the easy first one, you're basically toast.
You've guaranteed you won't finish the hardest part of the test.
Let's ground this for everyone listening. What kind of raw score gets you that band 7 that so many institutions require?
For academic reading, a band 7 is the gold standard. You need to get somewhere between 30 and 32 correct answers out of 40.
Okay, so you can afford to get about 8 to 10 wrong.
Exactly. For a high score like band 8, you're looking at 35 or 36 correct. Now here's the catch. For general training, the conversion is much stricter.
Because the texts are easier.
Precisely. To get a Band 7 in general training, you might need 34 or even 35 correct answers. It demands near perfection on those easier sections.
Wow. Okay, so let's move from the macro structure
Yeah.
into the battlefield itself. We're talking about 14 different question types.
14. It's an intimidating number.
It is. We have to categorize these, starting with probably the most confusing pair of all.
We do. The most famous, or maybe infamous, are true, false, not given, and yes, not given.
This is where so many people get tripped up.
It's the critical distinction. It often separates a good score from a great score.
So what's the fundamental difference in focus between them?
Okay, so true, false, not given deals only with facts presented in the text. The question is this information supported, contradicted, or is it just not there?
Purely objective.
Purely. Whereas yes, not given is entirely about the author's opinion, the writer's view or claim. You have
Sure.
to figure out if the author would agree with the statement.
Can you give us an example of how that subtle difference plays out with not given?
Sure. Let's say at past tense days, a new study suggests that coffee consumption improves memory. And the question is, does the author believe coffee consumption improves memory? The answer might be not given,
Why?
because the author only reported the suggestion from the study. They didn't explicitly say, I believe this. They didn't endorse it. You have to be so careful about whether you're dealing with a fact or someone's opinion.
That is a very fine line. Okay, then we have the structural and matching types.
Right. Things like matching headings, where you pick the best title for a paragraph.
A mini summary, basically.
Kind of, yeah.
Sure.
Then there's matching information, where you find which paragraph contains a specific detail, and matching features, where you link, researchers or dates to their findings.
Any key strategy for that group?
Yes. Always tackle matching headings first. It forces you to get the main idea of every single paragraph, which creates a mental map of the whole text. That map will help you find answers for all the other questions so much faster.
Smart. And finally, the completion types. Sentence completion, summary completion. These are all about precision, right?
Ruthless precision. The guide is so clear on this. For completion questions, you must use exactly the words from the passage.
No paraphrasing.
0. If you paraphrase, even if the meaning is identical, you get no mark. And there's a double warning here. First, stick to the word limit. If it says no more than 2 words, you count.
And second,
The final answer has to be grammatically correct in the sentence. If your answer makes the sentence sound weird or wrong, it is wrong.
okay, so how do we put all this together into a practical 60-minute strategy? Let's talk about the prep phase. I've heard this idea of reading the questions first, but it just sounds counterintuitive. Aren't you wasting time?
It's a fair question, but it works because of a 2-step process. First, you skim the passage. This should take 2 minutes max.
And you're not reading for deep understanding here.
Not at all. You're building that mental map we talked about. Read the title, subheadings, the first sentence of every paragraph, the topic sentences, and the conclusion. You're just indexing the document in your brain.
And then, straight after that 2-minute skim.
Step 2. Read the questions first. This takes another 2 to 3 minutes. You read the questions for that passage, and you underline keywords. Dates, names, technical terms, anything like main reason or initial concern.
So you're priming your brain. You're telling it what to look for.
Exactly. You go from being a passive reader to an active hunter.
And once you're in that execution phase, you're using the technique of scanning.
Scanning is how you find those keywords you just underlined. You train your eyes to just sweep across the text, ignoring everything else until you spot a name, a date, a number.
And it helps that the questions usually follow the order of the passage.
Generally, yes, with exceptions like matching questions. But for most types, question 5 will be answered after question 4 in the text.
What about vocabulary panic? You hit a word you've never seen before. Do you stop?
Absolutely not. You do not stop. You use context clues. Look at the sentences around it. Is there a synonym nearby? Make an educated guess about what it means and move on. The test isn't about knowing every single word.
Okay, now for the real crisis moment. 2 minutes left on the clock, 10 questions to go. What does the guide recommend?
Prioritize and guess. Immediately skip to any easy question types left. Multiple choice is great for this. For anything else, just guess.
Don't leave any blank.
Never, ever leave a blank. It's the one critical error you cannot afford to make.
Let's pivot to the landmines. The common mistakes that just sabotage scores, especially for people trying to get that band 7 or higher. He points out a few major traps.
The first one is a big one, using outside knowledge. You might be an expert on the topic, say World War II, But if the passage states something that you know is factually incorrect, you have to ignore what you know.
You have to answer based only on what's written on the page.
Only on what's written. It's a very tough psychological barrier to overcome.
I can imagine. What's the second major trap?
Falling for the word matching trap. This is so classic. A test taker sees the exact same word in a question and in the passage and thinks, aha, that's the answer.
But it's a decoy.
Often, yes. IELTS tests true comprehension by using synonyms and paraphrasing. The passage might say detrimental effects, and the correct answer option will say harmful impacts. You have to focus on the meaning, not just matching words.
And the third, most heartbreaking mistake goes back to those precision questions.
It does. Not checking grammar or spelling. It's brutal. A misspelled word is marked wrong, full stop. An answer that doesn't fit the grammar of the sentence is marked wrong.
So even if you found the right word, if you write the singular instead of the plural.
You lose the mark. That attention to detail is completely non-negotiable.
Okay, so to get from a decent score to a band 7 or band 8, the fixes have to go beyond just basic skimming and scanning.
Correct. The advanced tips start with a simple truth. Vocabulary is power. You need to study the academic word list, or AWL, and become obsessed with synonyms. That directly attacks the word matching trap.
And then there's speed reading.
This means actively training your eyes to move faster. It's a physical skill.
And the two key techniques for that are tackling subvocalization and using chunking, right?
That's it. Subvocalization is that little voice in your head that says the words as you read. It slows you down to speaking speed.
How do you stop it?
With chunking, you train your eyes to see groups of words, like 4 or 5 words, as a single unit of meaning. Instead of reading the quick brown fox, you just see the quick brown fox all at once.
That's the difference between reading at 200 words per minute versus 400.
It's a game changer. And finally, you have to master active reading.
What do you mean?
It means you're having a conversation with the text. You're predicting what the author will say next. You're questioning their claims. You're mentally summarizing each paragraph as you finish it. It builds this deeper connection that makes finding answers much, much faster.
So to summarize the whole approach, the IELTS reading test is definitely conquerable, but only with really focused practice. Success depends completely on strict time management, sticking to that 20-minute rule, mastering the quirks of all 14 question types, and always keeping that treasure hunt mindset.
Right. You're searching, not studying.
And I think there's a final sort of relieving thought to end on.
There is. To get a band 7, you can get 8 to 10 questions wrong and still succeed. That shift in mindset, away from perfectionism and towards efficiency, that might be the most powerful tool you have.
You don't have to be perfect.
You just have to be smart with your time.
For those of you who want to dive even deeper into this, you can find the related original full blog post over at IELTSGuidePhil.com. You can also find more deep dive episodes right here on IELTS Guide Phil's YouTube podcast, and lots more IELTS video explainers on IELTS Guide Phil's YouTube channel.
And don't forget the community.
Yes, join the community for more resources and support in IELTS Guide Phil's Facebook community. As always, all the links are waiting for you in the YouTube description.
And one special note, if you comment on this video right now, you can avail of IELTS Guide Phil's online writing and speaking coaching service.
Thanks for tuning in to the deep dive. Now go practice that skimming and chunking. We'll catch you next time.